Black revolutionaries, distillery owners, Italian fashion retailers, and Motown Grammy winners all share their best stories never before told in any other media outlets on Detroit is Different. Visit DetroitisDifferent.com or download the Detroit is Different app on Apple's App Store or Google's Play Store.
All right, welcome back to the Detroit is Different podcast studios. And today I have somebody in the space of what I do all the time, the podcast world, because it's more than just me in Detroit podcasting. Actually, over the past probably like 5 years, so many more people have entered the space. Detroit is Different's been here since 2014, and I welcome them all. I want more and more stories from the city of Detroit to represent that got a love for this. This is a man that actually got a love for it. I've been following, definitely adds a comedic flair, adds a Detroit feel to it. Mr. Quincy Lewis, how you feeling?
What up, man? You already know what it is, man. It's your boy Q Lewis holding it down live for the 48205, man. Red Zone,
Yes,
baby.
yes.
You already know.
All right, so definitely East Side representing Q.
For sure.
It's going to be like a usual Detroit is Different interview, like the origination. But before we even get to the origination of your family starting and all of that stuff, podcasting.
Mhm.
What led you into podcasting?
Bro, crazy shit. Like, shout out to my man's Coke, neighborhood cat, live in my neighborhood. Like, real big shout out to him for real, though, because he was an older dude in our neighborhood for, like, cats who didn't have fathers or big brothers. Like, he was instrumental in that. Like, he was one of the dudes who really from my hood that really don't have no vices. Like, he ain't drink, he ain't smoke no weed. Like, he kept us on the straight and narrow. So, like, shout out to him. Anyway, we over there lifting weights or whatever, because he did that too. He was a trainer, so he had us in shape. So we in the basement one time, and my man's was like, dog, we should do a radio show. Now, mind you, this is 2011. He like, we should do a radio show. I'm like on the internet? He like, yeah. So this, this shit is new then. So I went and Googled it. I'm like, damn, we can get on Blog Talk Radio. I don't know if you remember that shit.
Blog Talk. Blog Talk was, for people that know, like, Blog Talk had a lot of internet radio shows.
For sure.
And at one point in time, it was like,
it was
a
lit.
spot. It
was lit.
It was like shows for. It was like almost like the way people were galvanizing around. What was that?
Which one?
What was last year the Apple thing? Like 2 years ago, it came out. Clubhouse. It was like
Clubhouse. Yes,
it was like a clubhouse room that you can't get in, but people was. It was all types of discussions on Blog Talk. Blog Talk was dope.
It was dope. So we jumped on that, or I say I jumped on that. So I started a 30-minute little situation. I was on there by myself, talking to myself and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody was checking in at that point. I did that for probably about 2 months. Then my homeboy came through. He's like, dog, we go really do this. I'm like, dog, I thought that's what we was doing. So he jumped on. It's my man Smoke Money. So we jumped in and started doing it. And at that point, it was all audio. So, I mean, I kind of just, from that point, just started elevating, just looking at shit. All right, so let's add some video. All right, bet, let's do that. So then, all right, let's go live. You know what I'm saying? Let's do that. So it just kind of elevated, kept going like that. So it started because we was in the basement talking shit and somebody said, let's do a radio show. That's how it started.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep because that origination point and starting like that. And for people that don't know, podcasts by yourself, when you're talking on the mic by yourself, are the toughest. Yes. But you learn so much in that space because you'll start talking and be like, man, I've been talking for 2 hours. Then you look down at the machine and it's like, man, it's only been a minute and a half.
I'm telling you.
Like, man, I thought that was, and then you try to listen to it, it's like, I'm cringing. I'm hearing myself breathe.
Exactly.
You almost need a soundboard of a person to bounce off of to make it flow well, but getting in the dojo by yourself is really where you can hone your skills and build who you are as a personality.
For sure. I agree with that. And I was forced into it, though. Like, I didn't choose to do it by myself. It was supposed to be a group, you know what I'm saying? But nobody came. So, and knowing me, I just like, all right, I said I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So
okay.
That's what happened.
So with that also being said, your Detroit story, I usually start there. Your peoples, how many generations deep are you guys from Detroit? Let's bring that. Like, what brought your people to Detroit?
I'm a couple generations in, so it's my mom's and then her parents, right? So what happened, this is the story, like, as far as I know.
Yeah, what you were told.
Yeah, what I was told. So they were from this little small spot called Oglethorpe. It's in Georgia. Oglethorpe.
Whereabouts from Atlanta?
Because that's what everybody say. It's about 300 miles north of Atlanta. Oh, I'm sorry, south of Atlanta.
Yeah,
so,
I was gonna say, damn, I didn't know
yeah,
that.
no,
Atlanta got
that's
that.
Tennessee shit,
Okay,
right?
yeah,
That's
I'm
Tennessee.
like, wow, that's
Yeah, so it's moving down south. Now, real quick story about Oglethorpe.
so almost like on the border to Florida. Then it
Not
seems.
that far, but
Okay, but
like
closer.
almost, yeah,
Okay.
almost. So yeah, it's definitely closer to Florida than it
Yeah.
is to like Tennessee.
Yep.
So real quick story about Oglethorpe that again, I haven't actually referenced this, right? But this is the story they told me. So my aunt lived in Oglethorpe, and like in all of them, my grandma and everybody. And apparently there was the original Oglethorpe that was next to the city they lived in. So what they told me happened is that the town or the county, whatever, experienced an outbreak of smallpox.
Whoa.
And yeah, and they didn't know what to do with the people, so they quarantined them and burned them alive. I don't know if this shit is true.
Shit.
So they burned the whole town down, moved over to the next dwelling, and called it the New Oglethorpe, which is where my grandma was from. I don't know if that shit's true because I can't find it nowhere in the history books. But you know how some shit they didn't document that shit because
obviously
they killed the whole
like
town,
that,
right?
They probably not gonna put like Sheriff Johnson was like, hey, guess what?
Get rid of these niggas, right?
Like, yeah, I know. Be like, hey, guess what? We got free chicken, candy. It's gonna be $1 million. Just go to that rec center right there.
Exactly.
And you be like, right there?
Yeah, and they said that's what happened. Like, I'm not sure, but anyway.
I mean, smallpox was
a thing.
For people that don't know. Yeah, smallpox was the last big pandemic that they say, like, the way that it was healed was natural immunity, and it took about kind of like the COVID timeline, about 2.5 years.
Sound kind of
familiar. But many people died, and dealing with it, I can only imagine the ways people was dealing with,
especially
what to deal
down
with.
there.
Yeah,
like, ain't no telling what they was doing to people down there. But so my granddad was from down there too. Like everybody was from down there. So what happened? He ended up taking a I don't know what you call it when you jump on trains. It's not hitchhiking, but you know.
He hopped on like the end of the train.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
What do they call it? Stage.
Yeah, it's some.
Man, what
God
is that
damn it,
called?
what is it?
Jumping the rails. What is that? Yeah.
But anyway, he jumped on the train and came up north. And at the time, this was right around the time when Ford was giving people $5, but he didn't go to Ford. He went to the Dodge plant.
Okay.
The Dodge plant that that's the museum now or whatever. So he went up there, got a job, started getting things together, and then he sent for my grandma and then my mom's, and that's how we got here. So
okay, yeah. All right. So with that, what neighborhood?
They were on the west side, actually. They started on the east side, over here by Van Dyke and Gratiot, in that area, and then they ended up moving to the west side over on Calvert, like off of Chicago, somewhere in there.
Okay.
And I ain't gonna lie, dog, I'm glad that when they had me, they moved to the east side. I don't think, no diss on Chicago and shit, but I ain't trying to grow up on Chicago.
You could have been a McKenzie kid?
Man, what? Or what was it was a school right down the street, right there on Chicago and Calvert. I can't think of it.
Chicago, Calvert.
Northern.
Wait, no. You said Chicago and Calvert. Yeah, I guess that would have been.
not Chicago. Well, Chicago is the other street. Calvert crosses.
Okay, Calvert is like way over here because I'm saying Chicago. I'm thinking McKenzie, but that would have been either Central or Northern.
Central. Yeah, that's what it was.
Like Central or Northern. Yeah.
Like they literally live like 3 blocks from Central.
Say,
so I'm like, I'm cool. I'm glad I was on the east side. So they ended up moving to the east side. That's where I was born on Calvert, but we moved to the east side when I was probably like 1. Over there by 6 and Hoover. So I'm an airport kid, in that area. 48205.
Even though, like I always say, in this Detroit is different. Everyone from the east side lives by the airport. It's like, what is going on? They do, because you ask an east sider, it's like, hey, where you stay? Not that far from the airport. And you be like, man, the airport is so big. It's like you could be damn near downtown, or you could be on the other side of Outer Drive near Osborne. Yeah. You could be.
I'm literally I'm the block. I'm a block off of the airport. So, like, for real, I was over there back in the day when like you really could take a flight up out of here. Like Spirit started over there.
Yeah.
And the other shit, Southwest.
Southwest was Southwest was there. Spirit was there. Yeah. Like I remember
back when you had to interrupt your conversation when the plane come, like, because you can't hear. You can't hear.
All right, so that neighborhood. What do you remember about growing up in that neighborhood?
Dog, the thing I remember about that neighborhood is that everybody seemed to be pretty okay, even though now I'm looking back at it. We was struggling like a motherfucker. Like, I didn't realize it, though. But I think our parents did a great job in, like, sheltering us from that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never felt like I went without, but then you looking back at some things like, yeah, we probably could have had more. You know what I'm saying? So That's the main thing I remember. And I had a lot of friends who are still my friends. That don't happen often.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think people take that for granted. A lot of my friends really came from childhood, like 4 or 5 years old, like, and we still friends.
All right, and then it's unique because I'm thinking like, what street, what block?
Yeah, I'm on Ingleside, right? So it's Ingleside and Connors is my main streets.
You kind of had like some options of schools to go to if you wanted to go to
I could have went to Osborne.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you coulda
Osborne
went
was
to
my
the
neighborhood
Bourne.
school.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I could have went to Denby or Persian. Like,
yeah, I was thinking like you probably could have went to either one of them too.
Yeah.
Man, really, you sort of could have skipped and went up to Kettering, even though that's like a whole nother side of the east side.
But I had niggas on my block who went to Kettering.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
yeah,
you could. Yeah, I was gonna
yeah.
say that kind of puts you almost anywhere but like going way over to Finney or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
Definitely I wasn't going to Finney no damn way, but or East English, whatever we call it now.
East English Village now, but it's always Finney at heart.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Highlanders.
For sure.
What school did you go to?
Oh man, you already know, dog. The greatest high school in the city of Detroit, dog. Detroit Martin Luther King Jr. Senior High School. Shout out to
Black revolutionaries, distillery owners, Italian fashion retailers, and Motown Grammy winners all share their best stories never before told in any other media outlets on Detroit is Different. Visit DetroitisDifferent.com or download the Detroit is Different app on Apple's App Store or Google's Play Store.
All right, welcome back to the Detroit is Different podcast studios. And today I have somebody in the space of what I do all the time, the podcast world, because it's more than just me in Detroit podcasting. Actually, over the past probably like 5 years, so many more people have entered the space. Detroit is Different's been here since 2014, and I welcome them all. I want more and more stories from the city of Detroit to represent that got a love for this. This is a man that actually got a love for it. I've been following, definitely adds a comedic flair, adds a Detroit feel to it. Mr. Quincy Lewis, how you feeling?
What up, man? You already know what it is, man. It's your boy Q Lewis holding it down live for the 48205, man. Red Zone, baby. You already know.
All right, so definitely East Side representing Q.
For sure.
It's going to be like a usual Detroit is Different interview, like the origination. But before we even get to the origination of your family starting and all of that stuff, podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
What led you into podcasting?
Bro, crazy shit. Like, shout out to my man's Coke, neighborhood cat, live in my neighborhood. Like, real big shout out to him for real though, because he was an older dude in our neighborhood for like cats who didn't have fathers or big brothers. Like, he was instrumental in that. Like, he was one of the dudes who really from my hood that really don't have no vices. Like, he ain't drink, he ain't smoke no weed. Like, he kept us on the straight and narrow. So, like, shout out to him. Anyway, we over there lifting weights or whatever, because he did that too. He was a trainer, so he had us in shape. So we in the basement one time, and my man's was like, dog, we should do a radio show. Now, mind you, this is 2011. He like, we should do a radio show. I'm like on the internet? He like, yeah. So this, this shit is new then. So I went and Googled it. I'm like, damn, we can get on Blog Talk Radio. I don't know if you remember that shit.
I remember Blog Talk. Blog Talk was, for people that know, like, Blog Talk had a lot of internet radio shows.
For sure.
And at one point in time, it was like
it was
a
lit.
spot. It
was lit.
It was like shows for, it was like almost like the way people were galvanizing around. What was that?
Which one?
What was last year, the Apple thing, like 2 years ago, it came out, Clubhouse. It was like
Clubhouse, yes,
it was like a clubhouse room that you can't get in, but people it was all types of discussions on Blog Talk. Blog Talk was dope.
It was dope. So we jumped on that, or I say I jumped on that. So I started a 30-minute little situation. I was on there by myself, talking to myself and shit, you know what I'm saying? Because nobody was checking in at that point. I did that for probably about 2 months. Then my homeboy came through. He's like, dog, we go really do this. I'm like, dog, I thought that's what he was doing. So he jumped on. It's my man Smoke Money. So we jumped in and started doing it. And at that point, it was all audio. So, I mean, I kind of just, from that point, just started elevating, just looking at shit. All right, so let's add some video. All right, bet, let's do that. So then, all right, let's go live. You know what I'm saying? Let's do that. So it just kind of elevated, kept going like that. So it started because we was in the basement talking shit and somebody said, let's do a radio show. That's how it started.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep because that origination point and starting like that, and for people that don't know, podcasts by yourself, when you're talking on the mic by yourself, are the toughest. Yes. But you learn so much in that space because you'll start talking and be like, man, I've been talking for 2 hours. Then you look down at the machine and it's like, man, it's only been a minute and a half.
I'm telling you.
Like, man, I thought that was, and then you try to listen to it, it's like, I'm cringing. I'm hearing myself breathe. And
Exactly.
You almost need a soundboard of a person to bounce off of
For sure.
to make it flow well. But
sure.
getting in the dojo by yourself is really
Yeah.
where you can hone your skills and build who you are as a personality.
For sure.
You know?
I agree with that. And I was forced into it, though. Like, I didn't choose to do it by myself. It was supposed to be a group, you know what I'm saying? But nobody came. So, and knowing me, I just like, all right, I said I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So
Okay.
That's what happened.
So with that also being said, your Detroit story, I usually start there. Your peoples, how many generations deep are you guys from Detroit? Let's bring that. Like, what brought your people to Detroit?
I'm a couple generations in, so it's my mom's and then her parents, right? So what happened, this is the story, like, as far as I know.
Yeah, what you were told.
Yeah, what I was told. So they were from this little small spot called Oglethorpe. It's in Georgia. Oglethorpe.
Georgia. Whereabouts from Atlanta?
Because that's what everybody say. It's about 300 miles north of Atlanta. Oh, I'm sorry, south of Atlanta.
Yeah,
so,
I was gonna say, damn, I didn't know that.
No, that's Tennessee shit,
okay,
right?
Yeah,
That's
like,
Tennessee.
like, wow, that's
Yeah. So it's moving down south. Now, real quick story about Oglethorpe.
So almost like on the border to Florida, then.
Not that far, but like
closer.
almost. Yeah, almost. So yeah, it's definitely closer to Florida than it is to like Tennessee.
Yeah.
So real quick story about Oglethorpe that again, I haven't actually referenced this, right? But this is the story they told me. So my aunt lived in Oglethorpe, and like in all of them, my grandma and everybody. And apparently there was the original Oglethorpe that was next to the city they lived in. So what they told me happened is that the town or the county, whatever, experienced an outbreak of smallpox.
Whoa.
And they didn't know what to do with the people, so they quarantined them and burned them alive. I don't know if this shit is true.
Shit.
So they burned the whole town down, moved over to the next dwelling and called it the new Oglethorpe, which is where my grandma was from. I don't know if that shit's true because I can't find it nowhere in the history books. But you know how some shit they didn't document that shit because
obviously
they killed the whole town. Right?
They probably not gonna put like Sheriff Johnson was like, hey, guess what?
Get rid of these niggas, right?
Like, yeah, I know. Be like, hey, guess what? We got free chicken, candy. It's gonna be $1 million. Just go to that rec center right there.
Exactly.
And you be like, right there?
Yeah, and they say that's what happened. Like, I'm not sure, but anyway.
I mean, smallpox was
a thing.
For people that don't know. Yeah, smallpox was the last big pandemic that they say, like, the way that it was healed was natural immunity, and it took about kind of like the COVID timeline, about 2.5 years.
Sound kind of
familiar. But many people died, and dealing with it, I can only imagine the ways people was dealing with,
especially
what to deal
down
with.
there.
Yeah,
like, ain't no telling what they was doing to people down there. But so my granddad was from down there too. Like, everybody was from down there. So what happened? He ended up taking a, like, I don't know what you call it when you jump on trains. It's not hitchhiking, but you know.
He hopped on like the end of the train.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
What do they call it? Stage.
It's some.
Man, what
God
is that
damn it,
called?
what is it?
Jumping the rails.
Some
what is that? Yeah.
But anyway, he jumped on the train and came up north. And at the time, this was right around the time when Ford was giving people $5, but he didn't go to Ford. He went to the Dodge plant.
Okay.
The Dodge plant that that's the museum now or whatever. So he went up there, got a job, started, getting things together, and then he sent for my grandma and then, my mom's, and that's how we got here. So
okay. Yeah. All right. So with that, what neighborhood?
They were on the west side, actually they started on the east side, over here by Van Dyke and Gratiot, in that area. And then they ended up moving to the west side over on Calvert, like off of Chicago, somewhere in there. Okay. And I ain't gonna lie, dog, I'm glad that when they had me, they moved to the east side. I don't think, no diss on Chicago and shit, but I ain't trying to grow up on Chicago. You don't think you could have been a
McKenzie kid?
Man, what? Or what was it was a school right down the street, right there on Chicago and Calvert. I can't think of it.
Chicago, Calvert.
Northern.
Wait, no. You said Chicago and Calvert. Yeah, I guess that would have been.
Not Chicago. Well, Chicago is the other street. Calvert crosses.
Okay, Calvert is like way over here because I'm saying Chicago. I'm thinking McKenzie, but that would have been either Central or Northern.
Central. Yeah, that's what it was.
Central or Northern. Yeah.
Like they literally live like 3 blocks from Central. So I'm like, I'm cool. I'm glad I was on the east side. So they ended up moving to the east side. That's where I was born on Calvert, but we moved to the east side when I was probably like 1. Over there by 6 and Hoover. So I'm an airport kid, in that area. 48205.
Even
red
though,
zone.
like I always say in this Detroit is different. Everyone from the East Side lives by the airport. It's like, what is
Not
going
really.
on? They do
Not
because
really.
you ask an East Sider, it's like, hey, where you stay?
About to see
Not
the
that far
airport.
from the airport, and you be like, man, the airport is so big. It's like you
Yeah.
could be damn near downtown, or you could be on the other side of Outer Drive near Osborne.
Yeah.
You could
Now,
be.
I'm literally I'm the block. I'm a block off of the airport. So, like for real, I was over there back in the day when like you really could take a flight up out of here. Like Spirit started over there.
Yeah.
And the other shit, Southwest.
Southwest was
for
Southwest
sure.
was there. Spirit was there.
Yeah.
Like I remember
Back when you had to
city
interrupt your
airport.
conversation when the plane come, like, yeah, because you can't hear. You can't hear.
All right, so that neighborhood. What do you
Yep.
remember about growing up in that neighborhood?
Dog, the thing I remember about that neighborhood is that everybody seemed to be pretty okay.
Mhm.
Even though now I'm looking back at it, we was struggling like a motherfucker. Like I didn't realize it though.
Mhm.
But I think our parents did a great job in like sheltering us from that. You know what I'm saying? Like I never felt like I went without, but then you looking back at some things like, yeah, we probably could have had more. You know what I'm saying? So that's the main thing I remember. And I had a lot of friends who are still my friends. That don't happen often.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I think people take that for granted. A lot of my friends really came from childhood, like 4 or 5 years old. Like and we still friends.
All right, and then it's unique because I'm thinking like, what street, what block?
Yeah, I'm on Ingleside, right? So it's Ingleside and Connors is my main streets.
You kind of had like some options of schools to go to if you wanted to go to
I
the
could have went to
neighborhood school.
Osborne.
Yeah, I was gonna say you coulda
Osborne
went
was
to
my
the
neighborhood
Bourne.
school.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I could have went to shit Denby or Persian.
Yeah, I was
we did
thinking
either
like
one.
you probably could have went to either one of them too.
Yeah.
And really, you sort of could have skipped and went up to Kettering, even though that's like a whole nother side of the east side.
But I had niggas on my block who went to Kettering.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
So,
yeah, you could. Yeah, I was
did,
gonna say that kind of puts you almost anywhere, but like
Yeah.
going way over to Finney or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know.
David, I wasn't going to Finney no damn way, but or East English, whatever we
East
call
English
it now.
Village now, but it's always Finney at heart.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Highlanders.
For sure.
What school did you go to?
Oh man, you already know, dog. The greatest high school in the city of Detroit, dog. Detroit Martin Luther King Jr. Senior High School. Shout out to 3200.
KC.
Shout out to 3200, dog.
KC.
Low
Okay.
key, I was just with my man's Kurt Blackwell last night. Kurt Blackwell, of course, is the founder of Sound Mind, Sound Body football camp and now academy. He was one of my teammates over at King. Shout out to the Hit Squad, dog. You already know what it is.
Yeah, his squad, Coach Wren.
Coach
and all
Rand,
of them
rest in peace
guys.
to my dog, man, for sure. Like a super mentor. Like we kind of got off into that conversation yesterday and we was talking about, his organization and just how influential Coach Reynolds was. Like to not just to the people who played for him, but like other kids in the city. Like I don't even know how they got influenced by him and they never even got coached by him. But yeah, shout out to Casey, man.
Coach Wren, I started. I know I finished at Northwestern, but I
Okay.
started at King.
Okay.
And my Coach Winfield taught health.
Yeah.
And then I
Damn,
switched over
Winfield
to
passed
gym.
away too.
Yeah, I
Damn.
know.
Yeah.
I switched over to gym with Wren, and
Yeah.
you didn't know what Coach Wren didn't even say nothing. He just walked out with his clipboard like.
Definitely a mumbler.
It's like what did he just? Like I'm not about to ask him to repeat
No, you
what he
better
just
not.
said.
You better not. It's
Just
gonna be hell to pay.
I'm gonna just follow suit as much
What
as
everybody else doing.
as much as,
all right.
and Jim was definitely basketball with Coach Wren, so
Yeah.
shout out to him for that. It
For
was
sure.
like it was like
Oh yeah,
just
because he ain't
hooping.
doing shit else.
Yeah,
he ain't
it
doing
was
shit
like
else.
hooping, and then we did like whatever little test we had to do,
Right.
like them days, and it was just straight up hooping.
Is that still a thing? Like, is physical education still a thing?
They've changed it from the little homies I talk to now.
Yeah.
It's like they've changed it in certain ways. It's
Okay.
not. I don't think it's not what it used to be, but I assume it has to somewhat be that because that's really what it was. It was hooping.
Right.
That's
That's
what
all
gym
it was. Right. That's all it was.
it was like open run.
That was it all day long. Hell yeah.
Open
Damn,
run.
Shout out to Jim.
So KC,
Mhm.
were you in one of the programs at King, or were you just? Okay.
No, I was in MSAT,
Okay.
Math, Science, and Applied Technologies. Look, I don't know how I survived those 4 years in that program, but somehow, like, I'll be the first to tell you, like, I'm not the brightest bulb in the, what I'm saying, in the pack, but I figured it out. I got through it, and I ain't gonna say that. Let me take that back. Like, I'm not, slow or nothing, but I've never applied myself scholastically. I did just enough to.
You
get
basically
by.
did enough so that you could pass.
Yeah, and so I could be eligible to play football.
I got you. Enough to play.
That was
Enough
it.
for the hit squad.
That was it, dog.
Okay.
That was it.
So after King, where did you go?
Nah, so after King, man, like my homie, shout out to my homie Pimo or Angry Man, who was my co-host on the morning show. He graduated in '95, so 2 years before me. He ended up going to a school in Wisconsin, Lakeland University. So he was like the first one on our block to like go to college. So
he was like Ricky.
No, he really was.
Or like
No, for real, like Omar Epps on the
Omar Epps at Higher Learning.
Yeah, for sure. Right, so he was like my sister was the first one to go to college, but she didn't like she stayed at home, like she went to Marygrove. So he was the first one to leave. Like, so he started hitting me up like, dog, you going to college? You going to college? I was like, I really hadn't thought about it. I'm like, dog, I'm barely getting out of this. Like, let me just do something else. So then he's like, dog, you can come play football here, do all this or whatever. So I'm like, I don't really want to, dog. Like, I'm straight. So then I took the ACT, bro, and got like a 16, bro. Like, I think all I had to do was sign my name to get a 16. So I'm just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't go to school. So I ended up going to a college fair, and I ran into one of the reps at Eastern. So Eastern at the time had very low standards, I guess I'd just say.
Wait. For shout out to Eastern, because Eastern was damn near like a HBCU from like
It was. I swear to God,
like,
it was.
Maybe like 96 to like 2016. Its policies knew that how racist those standardized tests and stuff was, man.
I think that's what it was.
Eastern figured out ways to get black folks up there.
They did.
And most of the people, you know what I'm saying? Continue.
Yeah,
Especially I got Eastern questions.
No, they did, and I got stories. So the dog told me, he was like, look, it's like what you got right now, I can't get you in with 16. You got to take it again. So he told me I got to get at least an 18 in order for them to even consider me. So I went back and took it. Ended up getting a 19, you know what I'm saying, which is still not great, but it was enough to get me in there. So got back with dog. They got my paperwork together. I ended up going to Eastern, right? So I went to Eastern. And I left football at King, at least I thought.
Okay.
But they had a tryout at Eastern, and what I need people to understand is that Eastern don't win a lot of games, but it is still Division I. All right, so like these niggas is still 6'12" and shit around this motherfucker. Like I'm little when I get there. So we go to tryouts or whatever. They had seen some of my tape at King, and dog just told me like, "Could I play D line?" And like, bro, I'm 5'8". I get there, D line is 6'4". Like, what I'm gonna do? So dog was like, "Man, I ain't gonna lie. We seen you on tape. We thought you was taller, but you can come out." You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I came out and got embarrassed and went home and didn't play football no more.
You were like, I
was
think
it.
This is the end of my football career.
Almost though. I ended up finishing some football somewhere else, but I'll tell you that after this. But but Eastern, what you were saying about HBCU, this is the story I have on Eastern. I went, so we there that first weekend, parties, everybody. We in the quads and at the calf, and all these black people. I'm like, dog, there's a bunch of black people. Like, this gonna be straight. When school started though, I ain't see none of these niggas in class. Where they at? We here, but ain't nobody going to class. Like, all right, that's what this is. Okay, yeah. So that was my Eastern experience.
Yeah, Eastern, like, the parties, even the dorms, especially when people, it's like, they got co-ed dorms. It's like you visit your homeboy, and then it's like, she fine. Yeah. She across the hall. You know what I'm saying? It's like Eastern felt like a whole nother like closer universe at one point in time. Where like,
it was like that.
You know,
I forgot about
like,
that.
So like, you know, people, it was definitely an interesting college experience. You know, and then like a lot of the organizing. You know, my friend Brandon Jessup was doing stuff up there.
Okay.
You know, Dory, like Eastern had like a feel to it, like a culture where, especially with U of M being close but not real close, but in the same footprint,
U of M was a jump off though. U of M was a jump off when you went to Eastern.
Yeah,
U of M was a jump off. I remember being. Oh, you didn't bring it back all these stories now, bro. When I was at Eastern, dog, this was 97, right? So this was Woodson last year.
Yeah.
So I used to have these joints at the Elk Lounge in Ann Arbor. Anybody who went to Eastern or Michigan at that time, the 97, 98 era, know at the Elk Lounge, dog, they used to throw this shit called the backyard boogie, bro. Dog, it used to go crazy. And this is when I first seen that the University of Michigan football players are fucking, like, they famous on campus, bro. Yeah. Like, I didn't understand it until I saw it. So we get to that joint, and first of all, shout out to Woodson, dog. I see Woodson, I'm seeing him on TV, and I'm swearing he like 6'1" or 6'2". Like Woodson probably 5'11", probably. You know, like he little, but he a dog. Like we know that. But I see him. Who was that? Sam Sword, I think, was there at the time, and like they fucking stars. Like I can't believe it. Like the way people are gravitating towards them, like they already in the NFL. Like fuck, this is crazy. But U of M has some of the baddest women though. Like shout out to Abe's. I think they just closed Abe's. If you've been to Eastern, like you know, Abe's is the Coney, right across from down the street from campus or whatever. They just closed it, turned it into something else. I was kind of mad about that. Anyway, you got me thinking about all kind of shit. I'm just rambling now.
No. These are the podcast stories, man.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm guessing you didn't stay at Eastern.
No, so I stayed at Eastern for a year, and like my buddy, shout out to my homeboy Ryan.
Because wait, let me say that too. Eastern also like that freshman retention in a lot, especially you know that a lot of the universities have really been focused on making sure that transition for a lot of black students can stay, because a lot of black students will go their first year, but then after sometimes it's grades, sometimes it's family, sometimes it's just the adjustment, like culturally, as you say. That's what you just said. Yeah, money. Yeah. Like what you said can't happen too. Like where it's like, wow, you know, all these black people, then you look up and then it's like, damn, what happened?
Where they go?
Like, wow, I feel like I'm in a whole nother reality now. Like,
for real.
Like so universities are spending more attention on making that transition for the black student, especially like to stay beyond their freshman year, because so many do be like, all right, I gotta shake this.
This ain't it. Yeah, you know? A lot of people be like, this ain't it, and I really felt like that too. It was like I wanted them to be more intent on retention, because it felt like they wasn't. It felt like it's like, all right, we get you here, we'll get the paycheck for you being here. Yeah. Now, whatever you do with your life, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's what I kind of felt like. But shout out to my buddy Ryan. So me and Ryan played ball together at King. So we both went to Eastern, but he still had that bug. Like he still really wanted to play. So he reaching out to smaller colleges or whatever, so we could like go play. And he found Adrian College. I don't know if you ever heard of Adrian College. I know
Adrian too. Adrian Michigan.
Yes, bro. So
yeah.
When people ask me, I say
that's a whole nother. Now that's definitely a small town for real.
Man, what?
You know what I'm saying? That's like one of them towns where it's like you can like go. If you know the person that owned the store, you can like knock on their door like, hey man, I want to buy some toothpaste. It's like
really?
It's like 12 o'clock at night. It's like, all right, literally. Hold on. Then they get up and then they open the door and they get you some toothpaste.
No, literally, it is literally like that. So he found them somehow, and then we started talking to the coach. Now in '97, which was that year that we was at we was at Eastern, they ended up winning not a state, what you call it, conference championship.
The MAC.
No, it's
I thought they was in MAC.
MIAA, right?
Oh,
no, yeah, Eastern was in the MAC. Yeah.
Oh, but Adrian,
they had won the year we was at Eastern. So I'm like, bet we can go down there. Pretty solid team. We fuck around and play. Now, mind you, it's Division III, so ain't no scholarship. Like we going down there, we just playing.
This is like last chance you for real.
It's exactly what it is. And I tell people like, bro, if you ain't in it for the love of the game, don't go to Division III, bro, because like you're not about to get paid. So we get down there, dog, and it's like it's a little bit of culture shock, bro. Like, cause it was literally probably, I want to say 20, maybe 25 black people on campus.
This is like last chance you for real.
Dog, last chance you, bro. I'm talking about we get there and it's like it's such a small population of black people. They knew we was coming.
Size, they knew you were on his squad.
Dog, they already knew. So they like, oh, these niggas coming here to play football. So everybody got cool with us and shit, which was cool. But it's just like it's culture shock though. Like I hadn't been immersed in that many white people like at one time, and like it's culture shock, and nobody prepares you for that though, right?
No.
So it's like that's a turning point too. Some people might have came like straight out of high school into that situation and got freaked out and went home. Like just so happened we had kind of got adjusted to from like Eastern. College, yeah.
So like y'all had like a little bit of that at Eastern, and then it goes all the way to Adrian.
All the way there, Adrian. But I think the thing that saved us is because we had been to Eastern. Because like you can get to Adrian and kind of feel like, because it's a small school, you can kind of feel like the big fish in the little pond. You know what I'm saying? But like we had been to a bigger university, so I was like, I wasn't trying to, shit on them, but like this is small change. Like this is Adrian College. Like relax. You know what I'm
So
saying? Like,
you had like something to compare it to.
yeah, I had
To
something to
know
compare it
what
to.
like scaling up would be if you
Yeah.
wanted to look at state, and at that point it was like just ride it out.
Yeah, just ride it out.
What made you want to just go on and ride it out? Was it more so just the connection with your homeboy, or was it like just at that point it's like I'm here, I might as well go on and get this degree?
Yeah, at that point, what I'm gonna tell you, it's more to that story too, right? So we went and like we played ball, probably that first 2 years, and like he continued to excel at football. I realized that I should have had left football in high school because
Hilarious.
I didn't excel. Like I was still the same fucking high school player that I was in college, and that's not gonna cut it, even at the Division III level. So not only that, I wasn't real coachable either. So at this point, it's just all bad. But what I did find out at Adrian though is my passion for journalism or writing or communication or whatever. And what I ended up doing is I quit it. I quit playing football and I went into journalism full time. I started a newspaper there, a black newspaper because we didn't have one. So and I forget about that sometimes. Like that's kind of major. Like I started an alternative publication on campus. Like
I know it's printing presses up there.
Yeah, so I'm tripping. Like I really kind of disregard that sometimes, but that shit's kind of major though. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Dr. Renner, which was my my advisor, who kind of gave me the keys to all this. Like I don't know what he saw in me, but he was just like, "You got something." So go do it.
So what were some of the stories you would cover?
Man, for me, like I went straight to, this is crazy. I went straight to the top of the food chain though. So like all right, let me backtrack because this is what happened. I had a journalism 1 class, and I was in there writing stories and shit, and they had me covering shit that I ain't really want to cover. Yeah. So then I was like, you know what? I should just do my own shit. So I went through the whole semester, and I started telling him like I wanted to, do something different. Thing. Yeah. So what he did for me, dog, this is crazy. Again, shout out to Dr. Renner. He allowed me to come back my second semester and actually teach his course on Tuesdays. Like, wow. This is my second. Now this is still the first year that we're at Adrian. This is the second semester. So he allowed me to come back in and teach the first year journalism people like what I knew. On like the class was Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays I came in and taught the class. Crazy shit, right?
Yeah, that is wild.
Yeah, so I had writers and everything. So that's how
it's like people nervous. They get in the class. They like, man, this professor showing up. This professor showing up.
Right. I'm like,
and then in comes somebody with a hoodie and some Timbs, and it's like, who the hell is he? And I can even imagine like some young white kid like, bro, I've been in journalism since I was. And it's like, hey, I don't care what you've been in. This is how we do stuff.
Literally wearing Timbs though, bro. I don't know what my infatuation with Timbs was, but Timbs in the summer, all kind of shit. So I do that, and I actually got cool with a lot of these like kids and shit. So yeah. So like they started doing some writing for me, for the the bigger publications.
The class,
So then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do my own thing because I started writing a column, right? And this is where Flipside Inc. is the name of my publishing company, but Flipside started as a column in Adrian College. Wow. So I started the column, and then that's when I started the whole joint, which was called the AC Express. So it was the College World was the main publication. Then I started the AC Express, which is I did my column every week, and then I still did some of the stuff that needed to be done, but I had other people write it. So I didn't write no stories. I was the editor from that point and published all this stuff. Like I skipped straight to the top. So that was my experience there, and that's why I stayed, because I found my passion in that. And oddly enough, shout out to my dog Ryan. We had a radio show in college, and I never knew I wanted to do this.
Wow.
I never even thought about it.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna be a writer for the rest of my life.
Like Citizen Kane. For anybody that's been in college and had a film class,
I was just gonna say, and I definitely have
anybody else, you'd be like,
you might not get
it.
Yeah. But for sure, yeah, we had a radio show, and I remember that we did some shit and we got kicked off, but that's besides the point.
I got you.
But I didn't know that I would end up doing this. Like honestly, I thought I was gonna do writing, but I'm gonna tell you what kind of sparked this. And this great, and I told you this earlier, and I ain't gonna get all emotional and shit, but today is a fucking great day.
That's cool.
And the only reason I mention that because shout out to my man Miles Dixon over at Podcastic. I do Tuesdays and Thursdays on the Rise and Grind show with them. And this morning, we had Miss Heather and Rocky on the show, right? Because this October is like Women's Entrepreneurs Month. So we've been doing a lot of ladies. So Miss Heather was sitting here, and we talking like we doing the show.
Yeah.
And after the show was over, like I mean, she was giving so many good points and gems and shit. I'm just like, I'm enthused. So then like the show over, so we just kind of sitting there. I took the headphones off, and she slid over to me. She said, "Baby, do you gotta go somewhere right now?" I was like, "No, I'm cool." She's like, "I want to talk to you before you leave." The hell? Like I'm like, damn,
Let's
she
chop
must
it up.
like she must like I don't know, cause like she got that aura, like she real spiritual, and she like I know she about to drop some jewels on me. So we go over into the next room and shit. She just get to tell me how she look at me and she keeps seeing visions of her brother. And she said her brother was like, for whatever reason, he was like super highly favored. Like whatever he asked the universe for, he would get it. And she was just like, I feel like you got that same energy. She was like, whatever you trying to do, make sure you just stick with it, baby. Cause I feel like you want to quit. But like this is your confirmation if you need it. And the shit blew my mind, right? So
Yeah,
then she was like, if you don't believe me, she was like, just look back at your experiences and like look at it from outside your scope and notice that the universe been giving you shit the whole time. So I'm like, damn. And I thought about that just because I was getting ready to say this. When I was in Adrian, I excuse me, I skipped class one day and I spent the whole day in the library. This is how old I am. I went through all the magazines to find addresses because I was trying to write to these people to get an internship because there wasn't no email and shit back then.
Yeah.
So I wrote to 18 magazines, somewhere in there, 17, 18 magazines, and Black Enterprise is the only ones that reached back out to me.
Wow.
Now, mind you, I wrote to a lot of fucking magazines, hip-hop magazines, Sports Illustrated, everybody, right? But Black Enterprise is the only one. Shout out to Robin Clark. I remember all these people's names because they so instrumental. So Robin called me, told me, the situation. She said we go do an over-the-phone interview. She asked me where I was at. I was like, I'm in Michigan. Like, that the internship in New York? I'm like, yeah. So she like, all right, bet. We went through it. I get the call back in a couple of weeks to do a second interview. So we do the second interview. She like, well, we'll be in touch. And I'm thinking like, damn, it's not. I'm from this little school. They probably like, he can't make it.
Yeah, exactly.
She called me back in about 2 weeks like, yeah, you got it.
Wow.
And it's a paid internship, dog.
Wow, that's
so
good.
I got a paid internship at Black Enterprise, and I had a chance to be as close as me in this blue chair right here. You know what I'm saying? With
Mr. Graves?
Yes.
Wow.
Senior.
Wow.
You feel me?
That's deep.
So, dog, deep as hell. I'm gonna tell you how goofy I am though. I get the call about getting it. I call my sister. And then my brother-in-law, which is my brother now at this point, we cut the in-law out. Yeah. And I'm telling him like, I got the internship at Black Enterprise. And he's like, oh shit, you get to meet Earl Graves.
Yeah.
And you know what my goofy ass said?
Who's that?
Bruh, who is Earl Graves? He like, nigga, you not about to go to this man establishment. You don't know who he is.
Hilarious.
So then I learned about him like, oh shit, like this is serious.
Yeah.
So we sat like here and like he dropped so many gems. It was crazy because like people in the room was like they'd hear, but they wasn't. It's like they was afraid of him. I was like, I'm taking it in.
Yeah, you soaking it up.
So I'm thinking about what old girl told me earlier this morning. Like, dog, the universe been giving you shit the whole time. I'm like, damn.
Sounds like it.
So when I saw that, I was like, she fucking right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was just confirmation this morning. That's why I said today been a great fucking day.
And it's interesting that I'm going through in this interview a lot of them gems. So it's like recalling a lot of it.
Bro, I'm trying to tell you.
So that's deep. And for people watching, sometimes the life is like that because especially in this world, doing something on your own, whether and I embrace it from an entrepreneurial angle, but I'm a social entrepreneur. I'm not a traditional make money entrepreneur. I got a homie in my crew that like his business model is money, and we always talk about it. And he got a lot of good plays and stuff like that. But I like doing it in a creative way. I like doing it on my own terms, and I'm a solopreneur. So when you do this on your own, and it's a lot of people out there, and we're gonna I'm gonna invite you to it too. I think we're about to start this business breakfast club thing. Okay. And because when you're a solopreneur, meaning like you're an entrepreneur, but you're the one person. It's tough because you're asking yourself so many things like, who should I meet next? Who should I follow up with? Should I just go on and get a real job?
Man, I ask
this make sense
all the time.
Is more money gonna come through? And then when it works right, now you're like, can I do it? Do I got enough stuff? Do I got enough equipment? Can I deliver on it? Who do I got to hire? Like, who do I pay? How do I, but like, you're asking yourself so many questions as a solopreneur in this world and facade where we like to act like we got every question figured out. Right. It's all in divine order. Nah, man. Sometimes you have to just be in the mix, let it come, accept failure, pace yourself, and then recognize that the failure was a lesson.
Yeah.
Because it really don't exist. It's a lesson, especially the more you stay in the game.
Yeah.
The longer you stay in the game, it's hard to even move around you.
Yeah,
Because people the streets gonna say, "Oh, did you holler at my man?"
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And
Like
that's
you,
what be
you
happening.
holler at Q, like you
Right.
holler at Kari, you holler at like the people in the space.
Yeah.
You know, so it's unique that your story kind of takes you back to that, and it's definitely a blessing that she did that because
Bro,
staying committed to this is
It's
very
tough.
difficult because you really gotta get. You may be the only person, like your partner, your friends, your family, even the other people in the space.
Yeah.
They may throw sometimes a person debating you saying you shouldn't do it is better than a person just like kind of not saying nothing because silence says a whole lot when you're trying to start something up.
Yeah, for sure. And you got to have people like that in your in your group because if everybody's just agreeing with everything you do, that shit, obviously we just all gonna be sitting here.
Yeah,
and ain't nothing gonna get done. So I got a lot of those in my group, and I've been knowing them long enough to respect their opinion though.
Yeah.
Even though they know I'm bullheaded and I'm gonna do what the fuck I want to do anyway. But like I respect their opinion though.
But it's sometimes in the back of your mind.
Oh yeah, it's for sure.
Like you gonna do it a little bit differently.
Yeah, but I'm gonna take their advice. I'm just
gonna
put my spin
It's gonna be
on
in the back of your mind, like, yeah, I may need to think about that one a little bit. Or you so far down the line, it's like, okay, I'm gonna pull back a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm gonna brace myself for this hit a little bit.
For sure. Yeah, just like that.
They're like, they like, your boxing trainer when you go in the corner.
Yeah.
You're gonna get back in the round and fight.
Going back in.
You know what I'm saying? My eye is already cut.
Right.
Obviously, I'm trying to dodge it, but he just dropped the gym on me where it's like, okay, I'm gonna remember that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
My homegirl Candace checking in. She's talking about like eating meat.
That's
like,
funny.
Cause I just can't get rid of it. She said I need to get rid of meat to clear my mind and everything. I'm not there yet.
I would say like diet and everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think we would go there. I had a really good interview with Jesse Brown. I would say if you never talked to Jesse, Jesse's a good guy with the Holistic Center. Like,
oh yeah.
Diet, I think happens. It's personal. You know what I'm saying? You got to be on like in America, we can overhype everything and go so far. Like it's gonna be hard to go from like, Hot and Ready's.
Damn, this nigga must know me. This nigga say Hot and Ready's.
Buffalo Wild Wings and Pizza Populars to kale salads every day. Like it has to be like a journey. Like I think in like anything in life, even this podcast stuff. Like
for sure.
You're not gonna just jump into this and immerse yourself immediately. You
Exactly.
gotta kind of tread in water a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Then you start swimming a little bit. Now you can jump off the diving board, but don't jump off the diving board to learn how to swim.
Exactly.
And I think,
you better not.
Especially like when it comes to like a lot of health stuff, it's like my weight will go up, down, up, down. People be like, "Oh, you getting in shape?" And it's like, no, I just now got focused because in that whole world of solopreneur, if anything will take a back seat that I've learned, and now. You know what I'm saying? Knocking closer to 40, it's like, all right, I want to anchor it down, because in my mind, not saying 40 changes a lot, but in my mind,
it does.
I want it to change a lot. So in my mind, it's like, all right, let me lock in a little bit more on this discipline. But the first thing, if I'm going to buy back time, that's it. Diet and exercise is where you're going to buy back time if you're a solopreneur.
Facts.
You working with a group of 6 people, chances are any group food going to be pizza.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And then this person slacking on the contract, you're the main person because you're the point of contact.
Mm-hmm.
They going to go home to their girl or their kids or their other job or whatever else they do. You the person that they holding out. Exactly. So now it's like, okay, now do I stop, change my clothes, get on my exercise workout clothes, go work out, then come back, then shower, and then get back in the mindset of editing the rest of these podcasts that are due to them by 12 o'clock tomorrow.
Exactly.
Hell no. I'm going to be like, hey, Coney Island.
Dog. No, this nigga is in my head, bro. You are in my head, bro.
Let me get, all right, let me try to be healthy. Let me get a grilled chicken salad.
This nigga in my head, I swear to God.
2 ranches. And you're gonna stay working and on the edit,
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And you're
Facts.
not gonna get active because it takes like a carving out, and then people be like, "Well, you got to buy that time." So it's a balance when you're a solopreneur. I mean, it's the same balance of like when people talk to me about like, "Oh man, people make time for what they want to make time for." A Kari thing that I always say, I hate that statement.
Oh, me too, bro.
Usually when dating, that's
like, usually where it comes from.
Yeah, yeah. But it's like, nah, man, because that negates the fact that like I've been making time for Detroit is different for like 20 years. Like
exactly.
The opportunities, as you said, as life manifests opportunities for you, they're manifested from seeds that were planted a long time ago.
For sure.
So it's not like as linear as like, it's not as linear as like you get in a business meeting, like when we were talking about the podcast fest, and I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And then if I, and I'm thinking about connecting and getting there for it, I get there and connect with it, and then they like, hey, guess what? It's something like this, and we want to connect with Midwest people, and it's happening tomorrow. Like I look at that as if I was with somebody else, they'd be like, well, you made time for that, and it's like, well, this is still part of a bigger. This is part of a bigger thing that I'm working on.
People
in
will
my
say
mind,
that,
I think we can go back and watch the third Halloween movie maybe 2 weeks from now.
Right.
Halloween gonna be there. This opportunity of something that I've been doing with my life for the past 9 years,
50 years.
ain't gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? So let me do this and get back to Halloween.
For sure.
And if you gotta watch Halloween with somebody else,
then so be. That shit gonna be whack anyway.
I don't know about that. Oh man,
you want to see that shit?
Oh man, you definitely need me on for horror. It's definitely probably gonna be whack, but I'm a horror.
You gonna watch
I'm a horror enthusiast. If you ever need somebody on the morning show to come talk about horror movies, I would love to come and be breaking down the science of it. I was talking to my fellow podcaster Piper Carter about yes, Candyman, farewell to the flesh, as we watch this black man pursue this white woman. And the sciences and the nuances.
You breaking that shit down like that? This nigga breaking it down like that.
So, but still, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not as linear as like, I just can't do that because I have something else. Nah, it's like, we gonna move that around.
Yeah,
because this is gonna be a part of a bigger thing.
Do what you gotta do,
and that bigger thing is gonna be a bigger tree to create more fruit in what I got to do.
For sure.
But balancing that can be,
Man, it's tough.
And then also the more you commit to it, I think people start working around and already knowing in their mind that like, he probably gonna.
And that's what's happening now. And I respect that a lot from like all of my people because like they do respect it now. Like people will call me like, dog, I know you probably podcast. Like my sister called me and like when she called me, and I ain't gonna lie, people who know me know that my sister probably the only phone call that I'm for sure gonna answer. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So as soon as I answer.
That's a cheat code if anybody's watching.
Yeah.
That's the cheat code.
Y'all gotta know. If y'all know my sister, that's probably that's the best way to get to me, like, because I don't answer the phone. Like I literally don't answer the phone. Like I text back or whatever, but I don't answer the phone. But my sister called, I'm answering, like, for whatever reason. And every time I answer the phone, she say, "You're not podcasting, are you?" Like, that's how we start the conversation. So, like, even her, like, she deal with me like that. But I just, again, I don't want to be harping on, like, this spiritual moment I had this morning. But, like, just, again, shout out to Miss Heather, because, like, she just put, like, everything in perspective this morning. Just going back to that, how she said that, if I step outside of myself and just look at the past and see how the universe been, like, supplying shit for me for so long, I'm going to tell you about you, right? Yeah. So I remember when you reached out to me and shit, I told you, I was like, damn, dog, it's crazy that you want me to come on the show because, like, I've been fucking with you for a long time. I'm going to tell you how far back this go, dog. You probably don't even remember. Let's see. When I came back to Detroit, I guess I'm getting ahead of myself because I was at Adrian after I did all the stuff with the newspaper and then did the internship at Black Enterprise, which I'll talk about that a little bit too if we got time. Yeah, let's go. I came back to the crib because like school was too.
I want to talk about that as a Detroiter, and I'm a great New York visitor. I would never live there, but
I know that now.
When you were there, that was a different New York. I don't know when the last time you've been, but New York is a lot different now. But like you were there in like let's put it like this:
for real New York.
If you were there when New York actually had a king of rap. Because basically, like, Get Rich or Die Trying. Well, no, I'm gonna take it a little bit further. That okay?
Yeah, I was gonna say before
by the time. No, I'm saying like back.
Okay,
So basically,
back.
I would say like basically when people wasn't well, let's see.
How you trying
When
to say
Jay-Z
it?
retired the first time
Got you.
on back, that was like a New York era.
New York,
Things
New York.
changed when Jay-Z's return. That was a different,
That was a different
New
New
York.
York.
Yeah. Like it's a whole different New York. But continue.
It was.
Continue.
So, like I said, I'm gonna get back to that. I came back to the crib, like it was too much money at Adrian. So, I came back home. I started going to Wayne State, and I got an internship at Metro Times, bro. So I'm at Metro Times, like doing these little weak ass stories or whatever, just trying to buy my time away. And I don't know if you was writing for them or like you had did some kind of guest, something like I seen your name in there under a story. Like I don't know if you was writing for them or you like submitted something, but I remember reading it and I said, "Damn, niggas write for Metro Times."
Hilarious.
And I literally said it like that in my head. So
Hilarious.
after that point, I'm like, who the hell is Kyrie Frazier? Like, who is this nigga, right? And he younger than me, so like he out here, he doing shit. I'm like, yeah. So I started following you from there. That's like that's what 2001 or some shit. Like it's a long time ago. And that's why I was trying to figure out, like, damn, do we write for them? Because like I never seen you in the office, but like I seen your work, and I'm like, damn, he must be.
My brother in Name and Game wrote for them, Kari Turner.
Okay.
So he wrote for them.
Right.
Kari Turner gave me a spotlight in the Metro Times.
Maybe that's what it was.
And then obviously I did some writing and work with Michigan Citizen newspaper.
Citizen, okay.
Shout out to the Citizen.
Maybe that's why I saw your story then. Something like I saw you in that shit though. And I'm just like, damn, who is this dude, right? Yeah. So like I've been checking you out since then.
Wow, that does go back. I got the articles, like as they say, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, whenever we want to do the old memorial, like hopefully it ain't in depth, but whatever, like, you know what I'm saying? I got some poster boards where people be like, damn, you've been on the scene for a minute.
No,
you know
for real, on the scene for a minute. That's why when you reached out to me, I'm like, damn, this shit like full circle. That's crazy as hell.
And then I saw you guys you guys may have been there this past weekend at the Taste of Black Spirits. Shout out to Lazar. And I was like, yo, even then I'm like, yo, we gonna connect.
Yeah.
It just, you know, ducks gotta fall in order, you know, stuff be happening, moving. Yeah. But now I'm gonna keep this fluid because I like the energy. Yeah. And I've been following what y'all do because y'all actually have like you have created a podcast space where I feel like I know you guys, which that's always the best. It really feel like a kick it more than it feels artificial or like y'all trying to create something.
Exactly, yeah. It's like a lot of people came in on that conversation.
Yeah, because a lot of people are entering this space and I feel like they're looking to create something. Right. Even the way they chop up the controversial clip of like trying to push
clickbait and shit,
things. And it's like, that don't feel natural.
Facts.
Even the stuff that becomes clickbait feels better when it's natural.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you naturally say something, then it's cool. Like, you know, if you say something like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't never, I don't never eat, something like this would go real, like right now, this the K-Swiss conversation that my homeboys is having, where Akaje and them are like, in Detroit, black dudes don't wear K-Swiss. Women just wear K-Swiss. So it's interesting, but that's a natural discussion.
It
Whereas
really
if you were looking to make something, you would make it like, in Detroit, dudes don't even wear red shoes at all. And it's like, that don't even seem like...
It don't sound real,
it's like too far-fetched.
That's a real argument, though. I don't know. Do dudes wear K-Swiss?
I would go as far as saying I can't
I
remember anybody in them. You know what I'm saying?
But my man's, though, shout out to my man Angry Man. He said he fucks with K-Swiss.
And I was going to say it could.
He said he would wear some right now.
But it's interesting. But like it's an interesting discussion. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, I don't think one way or the other, but to me, that's like an organic. You can see, like the content even feels different if you do this enough, where it's like that's organic
for sure.
Versus the stuff that is like, nah, they was trying to make some clickbait here. If you listen to enough podcasts and you do it enough, you be like, they were trying to drive it down this street.
For sure.
Versus
they fishing.
Nah, it went there, and when it goes there, it's more natural.
Yeah, it's natural. Like I said, it's just like you walked in on the conversation. Yeah. Like, if it feel like that, then it's gold. You know what I'm saying? It's gold.
So with it, let's go back to the New York. So
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Let's go back to the New York. You get there in New York. What are you doing during the internship?
So I get there. First of all, again, shout out to my sister and my brother. Drove me out to New York. Right. This is my first time going to New York. What
year?
Wanted to go. This was 2001. Right.
Oh,
no, 2000. Goddamn, I'm fucking.
So this is before you would know. You would know because the towers. Where was
I left right before then.
Wow.
Like, so that was September 11th. I left the end of the end of August. So like I was gone probably 2 weeks before, and the only reason like I left then because obviously the internship was over, but then I had football camp back in Adrian, so I left around August 28th somewhere in there.
That's something.
Dog, 2 weeks later, that shit happened. Crazy, right?
And I know you was looking like, damn, you probably had homies you hitting up. Like,
no, I had to call people like, is everybody straight? But when I got there, it's first of all, it's amazing. Like if you haven't been to New York, it's TV. You know what I'm saying? Like it's TV. But what I do respect though, about being here is I respect agriculture, backyards, front yards, because this is shit that they don't have. You know what I'm saying? Like this is brick city. It's all fucking skyscrapers, and you go outside, you on the curb. You not on your front yard. You're not going to the backyard playing. Ain't none of that shit. So parks is a real thing. Park and recreation is fucking important out there because if you can't go to the park, you literally on the curb. You know what I'm saying? So like I respected it. I had a different respect for things then, but it's way too fast. It's just too much shit going on. I loved it at that point because I was 20. I was 21. I love that. But like if I was to be out there with a family, kids and shit, fuck that. I can't do it.
It's just too much.
But I'm gonna tell you how my situation was though.
Yeah,
bro.
I was gonna say, where did you stay?
Bro, so
what borough?
Bro, I'm about to tell you, I get out there, before I get there, they say that it's paid internship, but they don't find you nowhere to stay.
Yeah.
But they do supply you with a spot where you can stay at NYU. NYU, like on campus. But it's like it's $2,000 to for the entire joint, but you gotta pay it up front. You gotta pay it before I come.
Oh shit.
I ain't got it.
Yeah.
So dog, I get to calling around, bro. I end up staying at the YMCA, bro, in Harlem.
Oh man.
135th and Lenox, bro.
Oh man, you was in the mix for real.
Dog, what? The real Harlem back in them days.
I was gonna say that was Harlem. That was and that's what I was talking about because I love that version of Harlem. To me, Harlem was like a big ass Highland Park. Like I told people, it's like you would walk. It was like you would see like these African hair braiders like on every corner. People be selling you stuff. Yes. It just felt like so. It was so black. It was so much energy. It was.
And they own it, bro.
Yeah,
it's the only place I know that. Dog, swear to God, this is no bullshit. My sister and my mom's came out to visit me, dog. We had went to. Now at this point, we wasn't even Harlem. We was down. We was down or not downtown. I guess maybe midtown. Right. We was on Fifth Avenue. Yeah, we was on Fifth somewhere, and it was down by Black Enterprise because this is where I used to cash my check right around the corner of Black Enterprise. But it was a pizza joint across the street, so I had to take them there because this pizza was good as fuck, some brick oven shit. So we go in there. It's like it's kind of cloudy a little bit, like it don't look like it's gonna rain and shit. We go in, we eating, bust out raining. Now mind you, we only been here 20 minutes. We come outside, it is niggas outside selling umbrellas already. Where they come from? Yeah. Where they come from, dog? Yeah. So they hustle is amazing out there. Yeah. Like, I mean, they got tables set up, umbrellas, they got the board up, like umbrellas $7, like they ready. Yo. I'm like, damn, these niggas is hustling. Bro. Can't be mad at that.
The hustle in of that Harlem. Yeah. Yeah, it was man.
I'm trying to tell you.
Bro.
But so it was different. You know what I'm saying? I had to get used to it. But like, so I stayed at the Y. Which was like basically a halfway house.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like damn near like hostel for real.
It is like for real. So you got people like just getting out of prison. You got I had some, and I don't know if this is true, but it was some women up on the 8th floor. The dog told me was like they was HIV patients or something. I don't know if any of this was true, but like I never spoke or seen none of them. So
like that'd be that court. That'd be that sort of hate. It'd be like, hey. Right. Like, man, she kind of fly. It's like, hey, man, just
got that thriller. Like, hey, I'm gonna leave it alone then.
It'd be like, why was you talking to her that day? Right. Like, oh, because we go way back. Exactly. From my neighborhood.
That's true though. How did he know? Like, so he must have been up there trying to. Anyway, that's a whole nother situation there. But I stayed in that shit. That shit was like and I posted some pictures not too long ago because I had pictures from when I was there, and that shit was like a jail cell, bro. Like literally, I'm in the room. Bed against the wall, had a desk, and then I had a little dresser that had a TV on, and a fucking air conditioner that leaked to all hell, so like water just everywhere.
Hilarious.
And dog, when I tell you roaches, bro, I just hey, I mean,
but let me tell people, I mean, as they know, New York roaches, and that's even if you in high end places, them some different type of roaches, because them New York roaches is like a whole nother.
Yeah, they the homies. Yeah, they here.
They ain't
going
gritty. them some hardcore roaches. You know what I'm saying?
I tried to stuff them out and get rid of them, but then I just started realizing, like, hey, they here, shit.
Yeah.
So I just had to shake my shit out because,
Yeah.
you know, hey, we here.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
But you stuck through it.
Yeah, I stuck through it, and then
Yeah.
I was as an intern there. I was in the editorial department, so they had editorial interns, and I think they had like the publishing interns. They had people like everywhere, advertising, all that shit. So it was me and I want to say 2, maybe 3 other people who was writers on there. And shout out to my homegirl Raylynn Johnson. First of all, I just want to give her a shout out. She was in my class, or what you call it? Yeah, I guess you call it class, the internship class. And we were both writers, and now she is like, I want to say like executive editor at I want to say CNBC or one of like she doing really good.
Yeah.
I remember when Whitney Houston died, and I remember watching CNN's coverage of it, and it was her. And I'm like, fuck. I used to work with her. Like I was I was so fucking excited for her because I'm like, we come from this same place. Now she was from Jersey. Yeah. I think she was from Jersey, but like we come from this same class. I'm like, I was super excited. So shout out to her, dog. But yeah, so we was all writers. And I'm gonna tell you what kind of spurred me there. It wasn't even the writing, dog. It was those conversations with Earl Graves. That was the biggest thing I took from that internship for real.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
and I got, you know, I ain't trying to, you know, toot my own horn or nothing, but shit, while I was there, I got 13 articles published. You know what I'm saying?
Big.
Hell yeah, it's big.
And then also, that was during a time where like black magazine entertainment was growing. Like Savoy,
sure.
you even had like the Black Men's, like like King
magazine,
stuff like that growing. Sure. Like it was an
magazines
interest
was popping.
In like magazines and black magazine, even like the ghetto stuff, like Feds and stuff. like it was like the magazine industry was as a person, this is one of my things. I collect old magazines, especially old black magazines. So like old Ebony's Jets, if you got them, I'll buy them. I buy them by the bulk. Like I got the issue where the Time magazine where Malcolm X was murdered and Martin Luther King was murdered. What? Like I got a lot of stuff and I like to read that stuff. And Black Enterprise is one of the key ones I like to read just because I like to look at the snapshot of a journalistic perspective of where Black America is going and where it's headed. Because the one string of reality through Black Enterprise, but especially Ebony and Jet, is there were always articles about, you know, where Black America should be, where we think Black America could go, and what will happen next with Black America and everything. Like it was unique. I got a Ebony from the 70s. I want to say it was like 74. Where Dr. Frances Cress Welsing is still studying, but she wrote an article about the state of the Black relationship between men and women and where things will go and where it may be divided. And I'm like, damn, she was writing this back in like the 70s. Hey, so today. It's interesting.
How spot on was she in that research? If you can compare to
if I could compare it, I think some of the things are like all the times we look at the future. Some were spot on, like about like in anybody that read the ISIS papers or any Dr. Frances Cress Welsing's rest in peace work would recognize like the framework for it. So some of it like direct and spot on about just the devaluing of what Black men will be in society and recognizing that, because that's kind of to me a lot of the crux and premise of our work.
For sure.
And a lot of media or propaganda being used to devalue the role Black men will play in society.
Yeah,
so that was on point. I think
50 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the key things that you look at and be like, was like everybody, nobody could predict the internet and the impact that it had and the way information would travel. So like some of the things about education and the ways people would communicate and that is not necessarily spot on, but for the most part, it's a very interesting article. Damn. Like I like to read a lot of that stuff, you know. Yeah. And when I think of Black high-end large publications, I think the Johnson & Johnson with what they did with Ebony and Jet and so much more, and then Mr. Graves of what he did with Black Enterprise, like you know, some of these people, and like Don Cornelius of what he did with Soul Train, like and then, you know, even here, like, you know, shout out to everything that GPR did from radio to television, and then RJ Watkins, like Nat Morris.
RJ Watkins don't get his flowers like he's supposed to.
Not at all. That's my
he don't
OG
get,
too. That's one of my OGs.
Yeah, he don't get his flowers like he's supposed to, though. There's a
No.
lot of Detroit shit that just don't get the praise that it's supposed to get. Because
Mhm.
like we the catalyst on a lot of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think about this, dog. And I ain't gonna stay on it too long, but
Yeah.
you talk about R.J. Watkins, dog. You got to understand that when you looking at what was the popular shit, Soul Train. You looking at Soul
Yeah.
Train, right? Like we literally had Soul Train in the city of Detroit.
We did.
Like literally.
We did.
Like the new dance show and the scene is some shit that ain't nobody else doing. Like,
Yeah.
we the catalyst on a lot of shit, dog. So shout out to R.J. Watkins. I just
Yeah.
want to say that shit.
Yeah, and that. And I mean, everything they did, HT, like, them are OGs.
Yeah, for sure.
So with it, you that experience and then 9/11 happens. That's interesting. Did you ever really want to get back in that space in journalism? Like, where was your head at?
So what's crazy about that shit though is while we out there, like I said, I got published all those times. Super excited. I met a lot of people. Got my interview skills up and shit. And I was at this point, I was still an old school ass reporter. Like I did phone interviews and I did in person interviews, but I was literally writing shit down. I remember the
like, do you follow any of the businesses and stuff like that? That's the other thing I do from the Black Enterprise. Like, I like to look at some of those lists and then see where the Black business people were, like the new thinkers of then to today.
Especially all the people that I interviewed, like I literally kept in touch with them. Like literally kept in touch with them. So I mean that's always a plus. And again, just going back to Earl Graves, I think like we talked about a lot of shit. But I think the main thing that stuck with me that I use to this day in every interaction is he told me that like you will cross paths with people like all the time. But like what your job is to do is to hold these people accountable when they offer you something, right? So if they say like, you know what, Q, I got you. Like I'm gonna do this for you, do that or whatever, right? And people sometimes forget and sometimes they just talking shit.
Yeah.
And he was like, though, you got to weed those out and you have to hold these people accountable. So like if they say they go do something for them, give them a minute and then call their ass on that shit. And if they ain't about that business, then you know how to deal with them and shit. Like this is just gems he dropping. Like I'm fucking 21 years old. Like I'm hearing it, but like I'm not hearing it.
And then sometimes let me put it like this: is my granddad and my dad both entrepreneurs too. Yeah. I remember one of the toughest discussions I've ever had in my life. I was so angry, but I couldn't even really express it because I'm complaining about something with a client or whatever. But both of them long years in business, and they was like, the problem is you don't know how to get to the money. Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck is they talking about? It bothered me, but and I've said this before, but every day now I understand more. Cause like sometimes a person can drop a gem on you and you just not really ready to receive it. But it's good because it's there in your mind.
Facts.
I just talked to this the intern working with me now. He's really interested in music. And I was like, look, and I know this bothered him. I was like, this gonna bother you when I tell this to you. But I tell this to most people in music because I'm like, I was from that music space. And even in this podcast space, I'm like, you're looking at the music as a fan. Right. You got to look at music as a business.
Yeah, for sure.
And it'll open up so many more opportunities. Yeah. And he's like, what the fuck did that mean? It's like, I know how you're feeling because that's going to make you angry because you're going to make it seem like you're not seeing it, but you're not seeing the picture the way the person that's paying for a concert venue is seeing it. The person that pays for a concert venue don't care whether it's Eminem, Reese's Pieces, Now and Later, Starburst. It's like, will we be able to sell enough tickets? Exactly. Will they buy a bunch of beer? Exactly. Will they not Uber to the concert? Will they buy a parking pass? Yeah. Will they get into a fight and destruct our stuff? And will they leave in enough time so we can bring the next person and make money? That's how they think about it. They don't think about like, wow, this is the best music I've ever heard. It's definitely not. And this needs more exposure. And this is, they don't think about none of that stuff. Hell no. They're going to think about all of those other dynamics of like, okay, I think this is the type of crowd that's going to be, they'll pay, $20 for a Pabst Blue Ribbon tap beer because they stuck there and they don't care. You know what I'm saying? And no offense to PBR, but you know what I'm saying? Like this is what the business person is thinking. For sure. They're not thinking about none of the fan stuff.
Absolutely right. And in order to make it successfully in music, you got to start thinking like that because at the end of the day, you are a business. Like whether you like it or not. I mean, even us, like doing podcasts, like it's all artistic, it's all creativity. But at the end of the day, it's still a business. You got to know that part of it.
Yeah, you
know what
got to
I'm
know who you're angling to. Like what
Facts.
I do with Detroit is different, being a free resource for people. I'm more a voice for the Black community. That's
For
the
sure.
branding that I will look to lean more into.
Right.
With so now I'm showing people how the sausage is made for Detroit is different.
Uh-oh.
I'm a voice of the Black community.
Yeah.
Meaning it's more important for me to have allies that probably wouldn't have this platform and align them with different looks.
Right.
So through the Josh Adams as a comedian, through the Piper Carter as an activist, through Titties and Tacos with what they do as the woman friendship, through My Natural Hair, like I can now go to the people that come to me and turn around and say, hey, we want to get a perspective and pulse to talk to all of Black Detroit.
Yeah.
Through this network, I have a link to different variances of what Black Detroit is. And whether you like Kari Frazier and the Detroit is Different podcast or not, you may like Josh Adams.
Yeah.
You may like Piper Carter.
Josh
you
Adams
may
too,
like,
though, for sure.
you know what I'm saying? You may
Yeah.
like cornbread and caviar. You may like a different look that we offer here with Detroit is Different.
Yeah.
And I have an array of mix to offer you.
Yeah.
That's what I do, and that's my angle.
Right.
But I would do this completely different if my goal and my audience was a different audience.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like if my goal and my audience was to sell, as I say, like it's two in this world of entertainment, I think it's two types of people, which one ain't bad. I used to make it seem like one's worse than the other, but it's the same thing. Some people want to make money with artists, and I think that's me, but that's a different burden you carry.
Right.
Some people want to make money off of artists.
Yeah.
And that's a different burden they carry.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
you just got to figure out which offering you're in. And sometimes
Yeah.
you can mix it,
Yeah.
but usually
But you got to know the difference between
you
the
got
two.
to know the difference,
Yeah.
and then you got to know the different responsibilities involved in such.
Yeah,
So
for
yeah,
sure.
when I'm Barry Gordy,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pay for a choreographer. I'm gonna pay for you to get your hair done. I'm gonna pay
Right.
for Smokey to write this song. You gonna sing this song. I'm gonna pay for
Right.
the vocal coaches and all of that stuff. So
Facts.
if
So we
I
get the
choose
product
to
that
give
we
you
need.
5% of the profit, that's a fair deal, Mr. Marvin Gaye. You know what I'm saying? And I know that sounds like, that's but it's like,
buddy.
nah, but I put a lot into this investment
Yeah.
that you never did.
Exactly.
Now, if you want to do business with me, then now
You got to do
you
this
put
shit
up
that I've
half
been
of
doing.
this, you put up
Yeah.
half of that, you put up half of this, you
Right.
put up half of that. And then furthermore, it's like, well, these my plugs too.
Yeah.
Having a relationship matters.
It
Because
does.
if you go to this choreographer or this etiquette coach or this makeup artist or whoever, this
Right.
photographer, this videographer, they may charge you too much money or they may not
Exactly.
be available. I have a
Right.
relationship with this person. So they like,
Exactly.
all right, I'll do it for X.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
And I'll
saying?
make
And
myself
my
available.
value may be worth
Exactly.
X,
No,
Y,
that's
Z, or whatever. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, me and Q building our relationship, it's like it's a respect amongst what we do together.
For
So
sure.
Q bring me in on something, I may say like, yo, charge it to the game.
Yeah.
But that don't mean his partners get it charged to the game because he already done quantified it like Kari's value here is worth $600. So
Right.
I'm taking my 300
Yeah.
of the relationship, but y'all still gonna pay the 3.
Right. For sure.
And I know for people watching, they like, oh, that don't sound right. Nah,
That's
it
how
do
it
sound
goes.
right
That's
because
how it works.
just because part of the discount is there because of the game.
Yeah. And it's
Because
the
he's growing
relationships.
precedent to that. Yeah,
Yeah, it's the relationship.
it's value
dog.
in that.
Yeah, relationships are important, dog. And I think I heard Khaled say that shit the most, but like people starting to really pick up on that. Relationships are like what they are. And I think this is what we used to call, like for white folks, we used to call this the old boys club or whatever
Yeah.
and shit, right? Yeah. Like
It does exist.
Yeah, we need to have that.
It does exist.
Yeah, we
Like
need to have
Q
it.
can hit me up like, hey man, I need you got something just went out. I need a podcast board. I'd be
Yeah.
like, all right, I got one that
Yeah.
here you go. Just off
Facts.
bail.
Yeah.
It'll happen like that. And it
Yeah,
does happen
for
like
sure.
that with certain people. But
Yeah.
then if you somebody from the outside, I ain't seen you put in no grind, then
You
yeah,
ain't
you
getting
gonna
that.
get a tax.
Hell yes.
You gonna get a tax.
all day.
You know
for
what I'm
sure.
saying? So it's like it just is what it is. And I'm sure for you and your industry, it would be the same thing for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Or
If
it should be.
If you it should
should
be.
be,
If you
yeah.
own a boat and I need a boat, you better charge me.
Hey, you
to
ain't
use
never
it?
seen me on the boat.
Yeah, you ain't never seen me drive a boat.
I'ma
and
tear
all of
your
that.
shit up.
Yeah, I ain't gonna tell it. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Right.
gonna run it into the dock the first day.
Exactly. So yeah, you better know. Shit, you better know the difference for sure, dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was just going back to that. That was a great experience, dog. Like I couldn't trade it for nothing. I mean, the life experience was good, and the actual experience I got at Black Enterprise, like dog. And I again, I'm going back to what Miss Heather was saying earlier about looking at how the universe been giving me gifts. Just looking at all the places that could have called me back. Like, yeah, I could have went and wrote for Sports Illustrated. I could have wrote for Vibe magazine or something, but I wouldn't go get that game that I got from Earl Graves.
You ain't gonna be
from
next
none
to
of them
the
places.
real publisher.
What?
Yeah.
And something you mentioned too, dog, blessings on blessings, bro. Like, so while we was there, we did a switch. We did a switch with the people over at Essence. I'm fucking met Ed Lewis too.
Wow.
Who the fuck? Come on, dog.
Wow.
Come on, dog. And
That's
I'm talking
deep.
about he got a corner office with 3 windows, bro. Like this is all just looking out to New York. Like this is fucking crazy. Like this. Anyway, dog, it's just and I look back on that shit. You kind of forget about it. You know what I'm saying? Like not like that, but it's been so many years. But like I'm literally standing in the office on, I can't even remember where Essence was at, but it's downtown New York, and I'm just looking out from this man's office like he created this, dog. He created this shit. It's fucking crazy. It's phenomenal, dog.
So what led you more so back into this space and not like writing books?
Oh yeah, that's what I was
journalism?
gonna say.
You know what I'm saying?
So I did continue to write. So I've written some books, but like when I left there, 2001, 2002, we really started kind of getting into the internet age. Like it was coming, and like print journalism was fucking dying.
Yeah.
Like I got back to the crib, it's like I'm started filling out for other internships and jobs and shit. It's like they ain't hiring for real, or they got they whole editorial board and that's it. So like they'll take a submission from you, but they ain't hiring. You know what I'm saying? So like this shit was dying. So I'm like, damn, I gotta do something else. And that's what started. Like I said, I was doing Flipside, the column in college. So I started doing that as a blog on what was that shit called? Blog Post or whatever the shit was called. Like I had a website then.
Wow.
Like, and I was doing my column. Like, you know what? This is how I'm gonna write then. I'm gonna publish my shit electronically.
Yourself.
I'm gonna do it myself.
Self-publishing.
And from that point, that's what I've been on. So I did.
So you've been independent since then.
Ever since then. And I got that game from that man. You feel me? Like
That's deep.
I never would have been thinking about entrepreneurship. I never would have been thinking about like owning my own publishing or my own corporation, whatever, without having this conversation with Earl Graves. None of this would have happened.
So today, what would you say like of your business model? What are the like key assets? What's your key asset in your offering?
I don't know. You gotta reposition that question because I ain't sure how to answer.
So
it.
like, okay, like of what you doing in business now, what are the like key things? What are like your
my go-to?
What would you say
my
like what's your LeBron James's in your business?
Dog, for me, like in all of this communication shit, whether it be writing, like podcasting, podcast producing, my whole thing is communication. Like I've learned how to communicate with people across the board. And I think what happens is a lot of people lose that art. So, like, this is really my asset. Like, my people tell me all the time, like, it's shit that we want done, and we have to call, like, I ain't trying to be funny enough, but they have to call me.
They got to call you to call.
In order to go,
call
because
Art Van to get out of this weird,
bro,
15-year lease for an ottoman.
A fucking ottoman.
That came broke.
Right.
They
broke.
like, yeah, Q gonna know how to talk to them people, man. Get on the phone with them white folks.
Dog, that's literally what it is, dog. And, like, I am genuinely charismatic, not because I'm using it as a tool, but because I fucking love
That's
people.
Just you. Yeah.
I love people, yeah.
Okay.
I do. But also, people who know me know this about me as well. I love people, but sometimes I get tired of y'all ass. So sometimes I cut the phone off. I don't talk to motherfuckers. Cause like, you know how it is when you got good energy, like people gravitate towards good energy. They love good energy. Sometimes they don't match it. Sometimes they need it. And like sometimes I just don't feel like it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm straight. Let me turn down a little bit.
And I feel that too, because people have definitely seen me like turn on, turn off, and it's weird because like I'll get on other people's podcasts that like don't know me. Like it'll be like maybe like 3 guests or something, and I just know one person. And then me walking in, I'm like real quiet, and then I'm just drinking juice or water or something.
Right.
And they're like, "Damn, is my man even gonna be a good guest?" And then they go, and it's like, "Damn," he was like, "Ah," and it's like because I know I can judge, like you say. Because kind of similar to your story, I've had instances along the way where it's like, I've been doing this for a long time.
For sure.
And I kind of know where to go with it.
For sure.
And I like actually being the guest sometimes. But being a host, being a point guard, this position, it's a tough seat sometimes.
Man, what? It's the
point
toughest
guard
seat in the house.
is tough.
Toughest seat in the house,
carrying that conversation, pulling people in, especially when you got other people to like get them on the mic, get this person on the mic, get this person on the mic.
Without making it seem awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some people do that shit and it's awkward. Like, you got 3 guests and shit, so you hitting them like 1, 2, 3. That's awkward as fuck. Like, when people do, like how we doing this interview, like we legitimately having a conversation. I don't even know how long this shit could go for real. You probably, you know what I'm saying? But
it could go.
It could really go. So we really just having a conversation. But I've seen people do interviews where it's like damn near they looking at a checklist. And that shit is hella awkward. And these are the people, like no shade, but these are the people who think they can do podcasting. Like it's not that simple.
It's not as simple. it's very like a lot of things. The things that look the easiest to do are probably very difficult. Yeah. And especially if it's an easy thing to do that it looks like anybody can do it.
Facts.
Because technically, I'm one to say, like, when people ask, like, what do you think of my show? What do you think of my show? I always go back to, like, because your world in communication, my world is marketing. I'm like, I'm always like, who is your audience? Yeah. Because it's like, if I'm not a part of your audience, I could love your show. Mm-hmm. But that may not be a good thing.
Yeah, don't mean that.
Because so like, who is your audience and how do they interpret things and what do they listen to? What the offer? Like, you can really get nuanced into who your audience is. Right. And technically, I believe to be an effective podcaster, you should essentially be who your audience is. Right. It should reflect who you are because it's very difficult to like go into a whole nother world. Like if I was to host a podcast on, I don't know, what's something I'm not really up on. I'm not into sneaker culture like that. Yeah, right. So if I were to do it, I think I could do a decent one. Yeah. But if Rose Spit did one, it probably kick ass because he's into sneaker culture.
And shout out to Rose Spit, dog. Yeah. For them J's just came out, bro. Yeah. Like that's crazy. Detroit style J's, bro. On the what is they on the tools? I think it is.
Yeah, man.
Shit, that's phenomenal. Shout out to my man.
But he's into that culture. It matches up. Yeah. It fits.
Shout out to Burn Rubber, all that shit. 218. Yeah, sure.
So with that, as we get closer to a close, now we get how do people connect? How do people hear? Where should they go?
Dog, everywhere. No, but we are legitimately everywhere. And while I'm saying that, real quick, let me shout out my people out in Denver, Denver, Colorado. Shout out to the Plug Network. All right, so the Plug Network. Shout out to my man Julius. He got a couple of partners out there. I don't know all the partners, but shout out to Julius. Julius, I met. This is a whole nother part of the story that I guess we'll share another time. I ended up going to Denver. I relocated to Denver for about probably 2.5, 3 years, working for Comcast out there, and then I did an internship at a radio station out there, and I met Julius. And me and Julius was always talking about doing something, like we go put something together, and then I ended up coming back to the crib. Then he hit me up, and he was like, "Dog, I got this thing together, and like I want you to be a part of it." So we do some work together with my audio content. So what he does with the Plug Network is that he actually uses all of the audio content of the people that he gathered, and he leverages it to advertisers. Oh. So he kind of like the go-between for advertisers and our audio.
That's cool.
I'm gonna connect y'all because he's an important person to know. And so I said all that to say that my shit is everywhere.
That's what's up.
Yeah, so like iTunes, Spotify, even now on what's the Audible? Like we on Audible, all of that shit. So like what we do is he uses Art19. Art19 is the distribution system. So we submit all that shit and then it just goes out. So. But for me, actually, we've got a website too. So it's just eblockradio.com. That's eblockradio.com. All of the shows is there. All the shows I produce, all the shows that I'm a part of. Some of them I'm not a part of. I'm just on the other side of the camera. So shout out to the Oh Yeah podcast. Shout out to the Oh Yeah We Tapped In podcast. Shout out to the Beers, Bourbon, Whiskey podcast, which is me and a couple of homies too. We trying to do something. I don't know. We trying to turn into like a bigger network for some of the underrepresented voices. Like this is like kind of a collection of misfits. Like people that probably wasn't supposed to be podcasting, but we fucked around and got good at it.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I can't wait to tap in on one of the one of the ideas. Is our brains will switch off. As like I always say, sometimes not running the point guard. I love being the two guard on something.
For sure,
especially like something real nuanced.
Yeah, and just like how you mentioned though, and again, this is going back to Miss Heather what she told me earlier about my blessings. When I left there, I had a conversation with Lazar about some shit that we could put together, you know, with the Black Spirits event, and I'm just like, fuck. This shit just gonna keep happening like this?
Yeah.
Crazy, like, dog. So shout out to them, dog. Shout out to my man Diddy in the city, dog. That's Deshaun. Just it's a go.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. It's a fucking go. If you don't know, cause this is me. I'm pretty humble. I'm modest and shit. But at this point, I think it's time for me to talk my shit. It's a fucking go.
Oh no, man. You are casting a big shadow.
For sure.
I'm looking forward to even connecting on the Black Podcast Fest and seeing what's gonna represent.
And
so
about
much
that,
more.
even if you can't make it, I'm still gonna get you into connection with the founder.
Okay.
Cause like we just need to. This is my thing. When I go to all these podcast festivals, I went Afros and Audio. I was a speaker. What was the God damn it, I can't think of the name. I was just out in Jersey. I did theirs. I was a speaker out there. I went to another podcast. Like I went to a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And I'm meeting a lot of people. And what we doing at this point, or at least what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to build a network. And I want to say national network, but I eventually want to go international. But like I want to be like what Charlemagne is right now in the radio industry. He the fucking plug.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna lie, I didn't used to like Charlemagne. I'm like, what the fuck is he on? But
Hilarious.
like, he the plug though, bro. So like, I want to be that. So like how you said that we go out to Philly, go to this joint, and they like, well, we want to do something in Michigan. I got you.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we want to do something in Colorado. I know who to call.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be that. So like, that's where I'm headed now. So like
That's
I
what's
said,
up.
if you don't know what's going on, fuck with me because it's going up. Like for real, it's simple as that.
All right, now we got the classic Detroit is different questions.
Uh-oh.
Very first car, year, make, and model. What year you get it?
Dog, so I had a white 84 Cutlass Supreme, dog. The 4-door.
Oh man.
The 4-door with the back
man.
windows don't let down, bro.
Oh man.
Got that shit in 1997, my senior year of high school.
Man, you was like that car could have possibly got stolen the day while you was in it.
Man, so just so you know, the car did get stolen. But
these Monte Carlos and Regals, boy.
It was years later though. But I will say this real quick story about the Cuddy. I had the Cuddy and shit. The motherfucking got a hole in the muffler and shit, right? So this is my senior year. I left it at the crib. My old man said, like, should I take it to the shop for you? Like, nigga, just get to school. So I get to school. I come back. My car's still in the driveway. I'm like, damn, the old man didn't even take my shit to the shop. So I go to start it. And that motherfucker loud as shit. Like, glue, 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 glue. Like, damn, this shit still got a hole in the motherfucking muffler. My dog come out from 2 doors down. He was like, damn, nigga, you got flow masters. Like, what you talking about? So, I jump out. I look on the back. The old man that got me some motherfucking some stainless steel duals in that bitch, bro. Man, I'm talking about I was hitting the engine in that bitch. Boy.
Wait, I gotta ask these questions.
Boy.
Cuddy's Monte Carlos and Regals was like the premier hood car.
For sure.
What type of sounds you have in it?
Dog. I got jokes on this one. Now, I ended up with some 15s and a little amp that my mans gave me and shit, but I ain't gonna lie to you. The first time I had a little amp that my dog down the street had let me get, and my nigga, I had a house speaker in the back, bro.
A
legit house speaker, dog.
Hey, you had the home boombox system. Yeah. You gotta go with, but you added some 15s.
I added some 15s.
Oh man,
yeah.
Where was the first place you went when you got it?
Dog, the first place this the thing. When I first got it and shit, the motherfucker was smoking. So the first place I went was just
the shop.
I should have, right? But I'm just going up and down 75, like going as fast as I can to see if I can blow the smoke out. So then I remember me and the homies, shit, we had went to Wendy's, and I'm sitting in Wendy's and killing the motherfucker behind me. Smoke just going. So Wendy's was the first place I went, dog.
Hilarious.
For sure.
Dave Thomas is like, hey, we did not support polluting you that day.
Dog, we polluted the shit out of that motherfucker, dog, for real. Shout out to my Cuddy, though. Shout out to my old man, dog, for sure.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he blessed me with that.
Cuddy.
All white Cuddy. Had the white rally rims and shit.
Yeah, I'm surprised you. Yeah,
plus
man,
interior,
you had
bro.
to park. Yeah, you had to be very careful parking any place, like any parties or anything.
Dog,
boy,
for sure.
Whew.
Another quick story about the Cuddy, though. We had damn, I can't remember the club. We was downtown somewhere. Nope, it was one of them off joints. Like, it wasn't the joint that we go to all the time. I can't fucking remember. But anyway, so I come out, and if anybody know about Cuddies and Regals and shit, you know the trans go out sometimes, and the fucking reverse don't work. Like, niggas know that the reverse go out and all of them shits. I don't know why. So we leaving. I go to throw that boy in reverse, hit the gas, and it ain't going because, like, you know what I'm saying, like, it can't reverse, but I'm on the hill. That bitch go down, hit the car in front of me, dog. So I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, so I try to back up and it ain't going. So, dog, we jump out, push my shit back, dog, and I drove off the curb. We got the fuck on. I murdered somebody's car in front of me, dog. Because, you know, this is a steel bitch, so it tore that motherfucker up.
Yeah.
Man, we pushed that motherfucker. I got the fuck on. Luckily, wasn't nobody out there.
That's why this is a no-fault state of Michigan.
I know they came out from the club pissed.
They came out pissed, but if they, as long as they deductible ain't too high, I just had to hit off a $750 deductible for just like some light work. It was like, oh,
damn,
this is
$750.
Oh man, you know how it is, man.
Yeah,
that's the part of entrepreneurship, like that big drop that happens for most people because they got health insurance through their job. That entrepreneurs car insurance people don't pay. So I will be switching off to a new insurance agency sometime soon because I know they gonna be that's about to shoot up big time on top of deductible.
Damn.
Yeah. But okay, you the DJ at the fireworks. Woodward and Jefferson get to play 3 songs. What songs you playing?
Oh, shit, like right now or back then when the nigga was really fucking around down there?
Whenever.
All right. I ain't gonna lie, right now, like right now, I can't even think of 3 songs. Let me see what I want specifically. I gotta do, I'm heavy on Vezo and Peasy right now. I don't know why. Like I'm in my Detroit bag.
East Sider.
That might be why.
Peasy.
Yeah.
I love Peasy, man.
Yeah.
I love Peasy.
Yeah. So
you know
I like.
What I'm saying? Only built for Diamond Links, been in rotation. My homeboy. It's funny because like I was like one of the first people from the crew. Like, yo, this kid, Peasy got that glow.
Dog, he got that shit, bro. He got that shit, dog. Him and Vezo, like I said, that's my hood, so maybe that's why shit, 48205 shit. But so I gotta do that Builder Bear shit from Peasy. Fuck, what's the name of that joint? Vezo shit. I think it's I'm sick of y'all niggas or some shit. Like, damn, I think it's I'm sick of y'all niggas or some shit. I was just playing that shit. Like I put it on one of my videos. It's them 2 joints right there. And then I ain't gonna lie. Let me see where else I want to go with it. If I'm down there, it's probably gonna be some ladies down there and shit. What's that joint? The Tim's joint. I'm probably gonna play that. How that shit go? It's a slow song and shit. But so the Tim's joint, which I can't think of the name of it and shit. People watching, you can comment below, right? But like I said, the Builder Bear and the I'm Sick of Y'all joint by Vezo. That's my shit. That's my playlist right there. Okay. I gotta get out my hood rat shit though. I'm getting too old for this shit. But I fuck with it though.
Hilarious. All right. Last question. You could rename Woodward after one Detroiter. Who would it be and why?
Damn. What? Oh, for one dog, I'm about to fuck you up, dog. I would rename that joint after oh shit. Who I wanna damn. How about this? Michael Eric Dyson.
That's interesting.
For sure. Okay. Because Michael Eric Dyson is like in my eyes, is like for real. In real life, no disrespect, a hood nigga, right? Like he a hood nigga who made it scholastically. And what I love about him though is that he forced you to think. Like at first I was mad about that shit because I'm like, dog, you don't have to use these kind of fucking words and terminology. Tell me what it is. But then I started thinking like, no, what he's doing is making me elevate my thinking. So I fucking respect that. So I would rename it after him, Michael Eric Dyson. Shout
out to him as a fellow Northwestern coat as well.
Oh,
there
God.
We go.
Yeah, he's got that West
There we go, coats.
Got that West Siders. But yeah, that's who it would be.
COLTS. Coats.
For sure.
All right, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, we definitely gonna get you back in the mix. This was fun, man.
No, it was, though. I would love to come back, and I got to get you on whatever show you want to be on.
All right.
You drink bourbon and whiskey?
Yeah, man.
All right, so you got to come on both shows. Then you come on the morning show, and then we do the Beers, Bourbon, Whiskey podcast. Yeah,
I would rather not drink bourbon in the morning. It's going to mess up
no,
the whole
it ain't
day.
in the morning. It ain't in the morning. No, we don't do it in the morning. For sure.
All right, for sure. Peace.
Peace out, y'all.
Black revolutionaries, distillery owners, Italian fashion retailers, and Motown Grammy winners all share their best stories never before told in any other media outlets on Detroit is Different. Visit DetroitisDifferent.com or download the Detroit is Different app on Apple's App Store or Google's Play Store.